Later, Tomo learned that the strongest adventurer currently is Sophia Bulgar, the Dragon Slayer, who is at level 920. Additionally, she learned that Sophia had defeated the dragon called Lancer. Then Makoto's level was measured, and he was sad because he was still a level 1. In the evening, Makoto tried to rent some rooms. The price was very expensive and Tomo started to negotiate. She told the inn owner that she will destroy this place and got a discount. A short time later, Makoto wondered why the prices for goods in this city are so expensive. Then he planned to go out for dinner, and he asked Tomo to look after their goods. The reason for this was that Makoto noticed how they were being followed. At night, Tomo looked after the goods, and she sensed enemies. Then we see Makoto on his way back to the inn, and a little girl appeared who wanted to talk to him. Makoto asked Mio to handle this, but she misunderstood something and scared the girl. However, Mio was lectured, and Makoto apologized to the girl that Mio scared her. Then Makoto learned that she got a request for him, and he planned to take her to the inn to help her. After that, Makoto learned that Rina's sister disappeared a month ago. Meanwhile, bandits tried to steal Makoto's goods, but Tomo was already waiting for them. The bandits tried to kill Tomo, but they were no match for her. She tried to hold back during the fight, but she was overpowered and accidentally killed 2 of them. Suddenly, a bandit tried to escape, but Tomo prevented it and captured her. A short time later, Tomo was lectured by Makoto. He was angry and said that next time she should be careful so that no one dies. Suddenly, Rina appeared, and Makoto told Tomo that Rina's big sister was missing. After this, he told Rina that she can have the dinner that he brought for Tomo. She thanked him, and she had also drawn a picture of her big sister. Makoto was surprised about the picture of Rina's sister, and she walked out of the room. A few hours later, Makoto looked at the memories of the captured bandit. Then Makoto said that he had found out where Rina's sister was being held captive. He asked his servants to save her, and Mio was surprised at Makoto's serious face. Tomo said that she will try her best, and this time she won't accidentally kill any person. Shortly afterwards, we find out that Makoto didn't go because Rina's sister looked like his crush. He would have been far too emotional, and out of rage, he would have killed all the bandits who kidnapped Rina's sister. Tomo knew why he wanted to save the girl in the picture, because Tomo had read Makoto's memories. The following morning, Makoto asked Rina to drive the carriage. Also, he told Rina that she doesn't need to worry because his servants are on the way to save her sister. After this, Rina remembered when her sister went on a mission. When she arrived home, she was injured and ordered Rina to go to Sega. Toa stayed in Zetsu to work off their debts, and Rina's attempt to sneak out of the town failed. Then we learned that Toa came from a family of adventurers. One of her relatives was killed and lost their family's treasured sword. Toa planned to find the sword, but she failed. Before she died, Mio and Tomo showed up and healed her. Afterwards, Mio destroyed the wall and they told Toa to follow them. Suddenly, Zetsu's strongest adventurer, Cass, appeared and asked what they were doing. Meanwhile, Makoto had sold his goods and Rina was acting strange. Suddenly she said that she had forgotten something at home. Makoto remembered her saying that she was kicked out of her home and activated a spell. So, Makoto learned that Rina worked for the bandits, and she told an adventurer that Makoto received 500 gold for his goods. Rina was forced to steal the gold from Makoto. She didn't want to do it, but she was promised that they would let her sister go. Then we see Tomo, and she asked him if he planned to save Toa. Ace laughed, and they learned that Ace is the leader of the bandits. Tomo talked down to Ace, and one of the criminals remembered Tomo and Mio. They thought that she had faked her level, and Ace asked them if they wanted to join his gang. They refused, and Ace asked why they wanted to serve a weakling at level 1. At that moment, Tomo and Mio became angry because Ace had insulted their beloved master. They started to attack, but Ace blocked it with a magical artifact that created a barrier. Then we see the inn owner, and he told Rina to go somewhere else. Suddenly, Makoto appeared, and he asked for forgiveness because he had insulted one of Makoto's friends. Rina apologized to Makoto, and he did not forgive the criminals for forcing Rina to steal. Meanwhile, Tomo and Mio planned to get serious. Ace thought he could defeat them, but Tomo destroyed his barrier. After that, she started to crush all the enemies, and they destroyed the whole building. As a result, other prisoners were also freed, and they showed no mercy. Mio found Ace, and she slapped him for insulting her beloved master. In the same time, Tomo punished the guy who ordered Rina to steal Makoto's money. After that, Tomo asked if Mio was holding back. She answered, "Of course." But the two girls didn't hold back at all and almost destroyed the entire town. A short time later, Ace said that he would kill Toa. He immediately regretted it and was thrown out of town by Makoto's servants. The two then began to argue about who had defeated more, and Toa tried to calm them down. Suddenly, they started to destroy the town, and no one could stop them. Later, Rina was looking for her big sister and heard Toa's voice. She was happy to be reunited with her sister and hugged her at the inn. Toa thanked Makoto, and he was surprised that Toa looks exactly like Hasegawa. Then Makoto planned to punish his servants for destroying the entire town. He asked who ordered them to destroy the entire town, and they were thrown out the window to reflect on their actions. A few days passed, and Makoto traveled with his new friends to the next town. Then we see Hazal explain to a receptionist that Zetsu was destroyed by monsters. Makoto was amazed at how overpowered Tomo's powers were, as she manipulated the memories of almost all adventurers except Toa and Rina. After this, he learned that he had to re-register in the next town since Tomo had caused him this problem. He told her a story about a samurai. Tomo liked the idea of becoming a knight-errant and went on a training trip. Mio thought that she would now get the chance to seduce Makoto, but she was wrong. Rina apologized because she understood her intentions, and Mio was flattered by her words. Suddenly, Makoto sensed monsters nearby, and he asked Mio to take care of them. Mio easily defeated the red bees, and the adventurers were impressed. Toa asked Makoto for permission to collect the valuable materials. Makoto couldn't say no because he was just a weak boy. As a result, he was given bombastic side-eyes. A short time later, they drove on, and Makoto's party was attacked by monsters several times. Following this, Toa asked him about offering transport services, and he remembered that he lied about having a trading company. Suddenly, S-rank monsters appeared, and Makoto ordered Mio to defeat the monsters. The adventurers said that she can't destroy the heads, and she refused to do this annoying task. Then Makoto planned to kill the Ruby Eyes, and Louisa thought that he was weak, but Toa replied that they can trust him. Following this, Makoto showed his overpowered bow skills and defeated all the monsters. After the fight, the materials were collected again, and Makoto still couldn't get used to it. A few moments later, they arrived in SE. Then we see that his re-registration was complete, and he was still level 1. He looked at the quests and discovered a special rank quest. He learned that Rembrandt Trading Company was looking for Ruby Eyes. Shortly afterwards, they divided the materials, and he only wanted the Ruby Eyes. Then his friends were sad to say goodbye, and Makoto invited them to dinner. As a result, he received the digits from Toa and was able to use Snapchat using his ID card. He was happy about it and felt like he had caught a legendary Pokemon. In the evening, they met in a butcher shop, and Toa said that the food was already waiting for them. After entering, he discovered the famous manga meat on bone, and he was hyped up. Then he did a taste check, and he was surprised because the meat was very tender. Suddenly, Louisa asked how he learned to shoot a bow. At that moment, the drunk Hazal showed up, and Mio was jealous because he got too close to Makoto. After that, the dwarf girl Renina showed up, who was also drunk. She said she was surprised at how strong he is and challenged him to arm wrestle. Everyone watched them, and the competition began. Renina was no match for Makoto, and she was defeated immediately. Meanwhile, Mio ordered more meat, and he was shocked by the amount she ordered. They had a lot of fun, and Makoto noticed that Toa was looking at him. The reason for this was that she warned him about the Rembrandt Trading Company. Later, Makoto was on his way home, and he told Mio that he had something to do. He was afraid that their goods would be stolen by robbers. A few moments later, we see Mio, and she realized that she would spend the night alone with Makoto. Then Makoto showed up, and she thought they were about to make a baby. Makoto fell asleep, and Mio's plan to seduce him failed. The following morning, he returned to the demiplane, and Emma wondered why he was conducting himself so formally. He was lectured by Emma, and she told him to act in a manner befitting his superior status. Afterwards, Emma reported to him that the development of his town was progressing well. He also learned that the orcs planned to build him a huge residence. Makoto knew that building a residence is very time-consuming, and Emma replied that it is not a problem because they are establishing work procedures according to Makoto's memories. Suddenly, ELD showed up, and he was happy to see young Master Makoto. The reason for this was that he wanted to show him new armors that he forged with his friends. Makoto explained to them that he doesn't need armor because he is a merchant. Then, Makoto discovered a trench coat, which was a unique gear. Blacksmith Caesar explained to him that this gear is very dangerous because it absorbs tons of mana. Makoto wasn't listening at all, and he liked this protective gear. He was impressed, but the gear couldn't withstand Makoto's enormous power. A few hours later, he learned that some of Mio's followers were able to transform into humans. Then they showed Makoto fire corals, and he said that they were extremely poisonous. Suddenly, Mio did a taste check, and she said they tasted like Cheetos. A few days passed, and Makoto planned to complete his first quest. He entered the Rembrandt Trading Company building and was greeted by Morris. Following this, Makoto was told that he did everything wrong, and he was confused. Meanwhile, a guy in the Adventurers Guild asked who had taken the Rembrandt Hating Company job. Then we see Makoto a short time before, and Patrick introduced himself to Makoto. Makoto told him that he arrived in Sega yesterday and that he is a level 1 E-rank adventurer. Also, he said that he plans to start his own business. Afterwards, Patrick said that ruby eyes are rare, and he thought that a level 1 adventurer could never defeat such monsters. A short time later, he found out that they were real, and he apologized for his rude behavior. In addition, Makoto learned that Patrick needs these ruby eyes to make a special medicine. Morris explained that Patrick's wife and daughter are afflicted by a level 8 cursed disease. Makoto intended to help him, and he offered to introduce him to his alchemist friend Hazal. He was grateful for Makoto's help, and his employees were also happy to be able to save Patrick's family. At that moment, Makoto was sure that the Rembrandt family are nice people. After that, Makoto planned to register as a merchant, and he learned that he had to pass a test. When he arrived at the Merchant Guild, it was explained to him that the first test was a written test. The second would be a practical test, and Makoto learned the materials he would have to get for it. In addition, he learned that the cost of the textbooks cost 2 gold coins. He was shocked by the price, but he decided to buy it. After looking at the book, he was sure that he would be able to pass the first test with ease. As a result, he asked if he could take the test right now. A few moments later, the written test began, and Makoto realized that even grade schoolers could answer these questions. Mr. Slim thought that Makoto wouldn't be able to solve the difficult questions. He was wrong, and he had never heard of anyone scoring full marks in such a short amount of time. He then learned about the materials needed to pass the second test. He learned that he either has to collect the materials mentioned or which have the same value. Mr. Slim was confident that he would fail this time because of his low level. Following this, Makoto remembered that he is in possession of rare materials. As a result, Makoto passed the tests, and he officially became a merchant in this world. Afterwards, the receptionist congratulated him for becoming a merchant. Then we see Tomo, and she was hunting tons of strong monsters on her training trip. Tomo had killed Mr. Crab's dad, and she was planning on eating him. A few hours passed, and the feast was prepared. After that day, only 2 crabs remained alive in Bikini Bottom, and Mr. Crab's mother became a widow. Later, Tomo was told that Mio entered the memory vault. She feared that Mio would eat Makoto's memories and panicked. When she arrived at the memory vault, Tomo was confused, and Emma greeted her. She explained to Tomo that Mio is translating Makoto's memories one after another. After that, Emma ordered Tomo to help them, and she couldn't say no. Shortly afterwards, Tomo planned to watch historical dramas, but she was lectured by Mio. Tomo changed the subject and asked if she had made any progress. She thought that Mio managed to seduce Makoto, but nothing happened between the two. A few moments later, Mio discovered Netflix, and started watching her first series. Then we see Makoto, and he ordered an unknown juice. He also heard rumors about a giant crab and was observed by an adventurer. A few moments later, he thought he had ordered lemon juice, but it was banana juice. Then we see little Tomo plan to sneak food into the demiplane. Suddenly, Makoto appeared, and he wasn't mad at her because he planned to do the same. Afterwards, little Tomo reported on the situation of the demiplane because the temperatures have been fluctuating lately. We then learned that Makoto planned to build an illusory city. He explained his business plan to little Tomo, but she didn't listen at all. Suddenly, Tomo told him about an emergency in the memory vault. The reason for this was that Mio really wanted to watch the next episode of One Piece, but Tomo had not yet recorded the next episodes on a crystal tablet. Mio got angry and threatened her that she will destroy some crystal tablets. Following this, Haruna explained the situation to him, and he already suspected that Tomo was responsible for this. After this, they noticed that Makoto appeared, but they didn't stop arguing with each other. Makoto was angry, and he said that Mio has to return the crystal tablet to Tomo first. Tomo also had to explain why the two started arguing, and she started talking nonsense. Mio explained the situation to her master, and he learned that Mio became a big fan of One Piece. Makoto couldn't blame her because he is a One Piece fan himself. In the evening, he was in SE, and his girls learned about his first job. Then he wanted to go to sleep, and he told his girls that he was tired. His girl teased him, and Makoto decided to sleep on the sofa. Suddenly, Makoto got a message, and his friend Hazal planned to help him with his job. In the meantime, his girls fell asleep, and they dreamed about anime and historical drama series. The next day, Makoto met Hazal, and he was happy to help Makoto with his job. Then we see an adventurer, and he had a grudge against Patrick Rembrandt. That's it for today. Further updates on the story will be pinned down in comment section. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also push the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you later.